So
Got
if
it.
anyone's in the waiting room.
Emily's with us. Okay. Anybody jump out? All right, 2 more people. We got Erica and JD.
Oh, good. Okay.
Good. Okay, cool. We're fine. And Greg. Awesome.
Perfect.
Sorry about that, everybody.
Good job. Not your fault. Not your fault.
My laptop was not cooperating, but we had a backup. So
Hi.
hi. How's everybody doing? Sweet.
Hello.
You don't know. I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is the East Amwell Township Environmental Commission reorganization meeting. And it's a statement of compliance. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is a regularly scheduled meeting pursuant to the annual meeting notice as published in the February 3rd, 2022 issue of the Hardin County Democrat. A copy of the agenda was forwarded to the Democrat, filed in the Township Clerk's office, and posted on the bulletin board and Township website. I'm going to take a roll call, and this I'm going off of, and because I had to switch computers, I might have to have a little help on this. Marnie Stetson?
Here.
James, Allison Kapchuk, I'm here. Erica Johansson?
Here.
JD Grun?
Here.
Greg Chiacco? Greg's here, I see you. Lindsay Manzo is absent. Jenna Bloom?
Here.
Bob Lurie?
Here.
Leo Rommel?
Here.
And let me see. Sorry, I'm on a different laptop, so just bear with me here. So that's who we have. Am I missing anyone? Jamal Kadri.
So here,
Jamal.
me, Greg, JD, Erica, Lindsay, Jamal, Bob, Usker is not here.
Uskar's not here.
Leo is here.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for your patience and for joining us. And just bear with me as I get my agenda in front of me here. Yeah, great. So now we have on to our reorganization. Do I have a nomination for chair?
I nominate Marnie.
Second.
So Erica Johansson nominates Marnie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome back, Marnie. Glad to have you. And Marnie, you want to-
Yes, and I'm gonna nominate Bob as vice chair. Do I have someone to second that?
I'll second.
Seconded.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so let me just get that. So Bob, vice chair. And it was Erica and then JD. And all. Welcome.
Are you okay with it?
Yep, that's okay.
So did anyone have any additions or changes that they want to make to the agenda? Okay, and at the, did everyone have the November minutes or just?
Yes, and November minutes are
In
in
the
the
drive.
shared drive, and I also have a copy of them here for folks that are here.
Okay, and
If you want to review that. I know that the folks that can vote on that will have
Are-
to,
me and JD and Eric.
Well, I know, I thought maybe we could follow up on discussions we've had about the climate change communications group. If
Yes.
you want to incorporate that into a formal meeting as a new business item.
You know what,
Do-
no, exactly, where it says, formulate EC subcommittees, I hand wrote in, I want to add that one.
Okay.
So on there,
Great.
definitely, yes, thank you. Thank you. Anything else about the agenda before we do the November meeting minutes?
any
Was there
additions?
anything
No?
else, Bob?
Anybody?
Okay, so for those of you that were here in November, any changes to the minutes? Okay,
No?
speak now or forever hold your peace. Do I hear a
I'll move-
motion?
I'll move the minutes.
And a
Second?
Second?
Seconded.
JD, sorry.
JD second. Thank you, JD.
So all in favor, Erica?
Aye.
Or did you-
Aye.
Thank you,
Aye.
guys.
And so we do have some visitors to the public, so if someone wants to move to open to the public.
Move to
I'll
open to
motion
the public.
open. Jinx.
Good, so you have
Seconded.
Okay, so
JD first, Erica
Open.
second. Does anyone from the public want to
we
speak?
have two members.
Okay,
Okay, could I have your names? One more time? So it was
And
Ann Christensen.
CHRISTENS.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Emily, did you have anything?
Hi, I'm just following along.
Okay, it's so nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. Thanks.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about unfinished business, and I'm just gonna give a little electric vehicle charging station update. So you guys know, newer people might know, we had a $75,000 grant from BPU to go towards installing an EV charging station. And we did, Allison and I did a lot of work, and Greg last year, meeting with electricians and looking for other funding, and just ultimately ended up that the cost of it was going to be the upfront cost, and also the total cost that the town had to kick in just made it not something that we were going to pursue at this time. So we're going to keep looking at ways to try and encourage EV infrastructure in the town, but it's not going to be through the BPU grant. So that's where we stand on that.
So have those monies disappeared then?
Well, I'm sure it will go to someone else. But it was, so what it ended up being about the East Amwell was like 120.
Yes, so we
And
would,
the BPU could compensate up to half of that, and only after it was already installed.
yeah, it would have to be upfront.
So 120 total, but then 60, not reimbursable,
Not
ended up being a bridge too far.
And that's for the charging station itself.
Right.
I'd say, right?
Just all the
Not
infrastructure,
just
like a
all the
public.
infrastructure.
Because we looked at putting one in our garage, it wasn't nearly that expensive.
This would be a higher powered,
Yeah, this would be a,
This was a fast charger.
so 50 kilowatts, I believe, is the number that they'd heard.
Exactly. Yes, that's right.
The one in the garage is usually quite a bit less. And then the infrastructure cost upgrade would be on top of that. And then there was also demand charges for people who use it that often doesn't get compensated. So I was fully in favor of parking this, no pun intended, for the time being until the economics improve.
Yeah, and looking for other ways to, it's already mandated that anything new that happens in the town that has parking has to provide EV charging as part of their building. But I'm sure there are other ways we can encourage it. So,
hopefully it'll be easier.
all right, do you want to talk about?
Yes, so on to the next on unfinished is that we have on the schedule on April 23rd, the green scene, as well as if a few of you may have noticed, we had a first of our sustainability series with the Monarch joint venture, which was just earlier. So we hope to build on that, but the green scene is becoming very exciting because we've been able to have about 15 vendors that have verbally agreed to join us. These vendors include TerraCycle, our tentative. We have the Native Plant Society who will table. We have New Jersey Green who will bring EV cars to showcase as well. And I don't know if we're going to have the logistics to be able to do a test drive of them, but at least people can see and maybe ease into having EVs and understand a little bit more about them. We have a couple small farmers. I know that Fractal Fern, Emily's farm, will be joining us. And I've reached out to a few other small farmers in the town. We have, the Roastwell Coffee. I'd really like to see them possibly join us. So I'm waiting to hear back from a few. NOFA is going to be on board to table with us as well. I've been speaking to Devin Cornea about it. And he's really gung-ho about this and offering a lot of help. So no, Northeast Organic Farming Association. So he could table and provide a lot of information, cooking demonstrations and so on. So my overall vision for the green scene is that we cover every quality of life, whether it's exercise, planting native, driving green, sustainability within the home, and so on. So the vendors that we have reflect that. And what my next steps are is to reach out to them and set up a meeting to go over where they're going to set up in April, and get them just to verbally confirm that they'll be able to do it. Because I noticed with a lot of people that they're like, yeah, we'll do it, and then other things come along. So right now we tentatively have 15 vendors that are signed up for it. So it's still
And
early.
some vendors and some like.
So some vendors
educational.
and educational.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Plural.
we are able to sell at Clausen Park. And we also, I am looking into possibly having a food truck. So just to have a little more engagement with the community come in as well. One person I'm really excited that is on board is Little Warriors Yoga Project, which does health and wellness for young kids. So I think a lot of kids are very sedentary nowadays. So it's really great to have that at our Green Fair as well, because then it covers a health aspect as well. So it's not just plant your flowers, but it's also take care of yourself, take care of your community, and so on. So I just think that it's an equitable process that I want to look at it from there. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm going to start following up with people and getting everything in line. And Devin Cornea, I'm actually very excited about because he's willing to help out a lot too. He's a great guy.
At Lincoln Family Farms.
Yeah.
They got all the permits.
Yeah,
It's really nice.
he's just I learn a lot from him, and I've also learned a lot from him through Sourland Conservancy, which I volunteer a lot for. So he's on board, and he's going to be a big help for it. So there's more to come on that, and then our sustainability series. We have Oscar next, who's going.
No, it's the right thing. It's
Yeah.
geothermal, but it's not Oscar. It's
I'm sorry.
another neighbor.
Oh, and
She's also my neighbor.
yes, I was getting confused, but we do have a person from East Amwell Township who will be providing information about retrofitting their home and geothermal, which
Which you've also recently done too, right?
and that's going to be done.
Job retrofits do.
Right.
Yeah. and
Okay.
It's
Okay.
an open system, which is unusual.
So maybe
Right.
you'll try, so it's, I probably don't know, my neighbors John and Sue Sapanaro are coming. They're gonna come during our meeting, like a special presentation. But maybe, they're not gonna talk a huge amount of time. Maybe you also
Yeah.
share a little bit about your process.
I mean, I can tell you what I know. This is Roger Alcondro is the person who put it in. But
Another
Yeah,
name.
you could tell us about your decision process.
sure.
Yeah, and that would be good because my goal, especially with sustainability series, is just to bring things down to the East Amwell level so people don't get so intimidated by certain initiatives that they can do in their own home. Whether there's other aspects that I would like to do is composting and winter sowing and so on. And what are things that you can do just in your little square property that can make a difference? And then you don't have to feel like you have to go out and save the world, which I think a lot of people get very intimidated about.
The solar energy representative that we.
No,
So
but
they also have solar. But I think we could look into something, they're just sort of talking about their experience as homeowners who wanted to get more off the grid than they were. But it might be good to have someone.
that can make a
So it's
really
looking
good
at the
special.
head of the New Jersey Solar Association as a resident.
Really?
Really?
We ought to be able to get some representative. So.
That would be very good.
We've got 3 bids for rooftop solar. We designed our house with a south-facing roof at the right angle. But the Lean Family Farm is 2 massive arrays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
fantastic
working. The ROI is like 3 years. It's paid off.
Wow.
Wow, really? All right.
For your,
I think
for
that's
your,
gonna
home?
be-
Between the,
No, we haven't installed yet.
For
We're still
Lima?
with.
between the federal subsidies and the state subsidies, the paybacks really. Good.
Well, it's interesting. I just recently got
If you have the right.
estimates on my
layout.
house, and it was like 8, 9 years. I think.
It depends also how your roof is laid out.
Right.
And whether you have trees.
Right.
That's it.
No
But-
trees, but
But it can, in ideal situations, it can. So Lyle Rawlings is the guy I was referring to, who lives on my block.
That would be great, because could make for, that would be next, and that would be a really good special, that would be in a special presentation format, so it would be a part of our meeting. And then any other sustainability series that we have, I would like to do kind of standalone as we did the Monarch Watch, or Monarch joint venture rather, and there are a couple people, perhaps even Devin from NOFA, Northeast Organic Farming Association. You can talk about composting and cooking, like a cooking class or whatnot. It would be really great to provide to residents that they can in turn apply to their. So that is something that is a goal of ours. And we also do have on the calendar with our AmeriCorps volunteer that is out of the Watershed Association. Because we're on the border of 2 watersheds, I'm utilizing the one down in Pennington. Her name is Sarah Falk. She was on our initial call with Monarch Joint Venture, but she is going to provide cleanup information, cleanup education initiative for us as we do the first of our 2 cleanups for 2023 of Amwell Lake. So that will be on March 19th. So it would be fantastic to see everybody there. This was a really successful cleanup, especially in the spring last year. And my goal is to have it from 1 to 3, because my poll of everybody was just like, do it a little later in the day. And it's Clean Communities funded. So the Clean Communities funds can go towards garbage pickers, anything litter abatement related. And also I have Sarah, who will come on and provide education about why we can't have this non-point source pollution that we're picking up drain into our water. Even if it's just hard, tangible garbage, we don't want to have that. So there is that litter abatement education that's there, and it's a funded grant program that's provided by the state of New Jersey to
And do we have to
townships
do-
every year.
Do we have to do that grant again or do?
It's very easy. It's just an application process, and I submit it through, and it's pushed through the recycling committee, and we get $100. So $100 goes towards. I can also use it to feed everybody. So please come. I'll get some like roast beef sandwiches or something. That'd be great.
What's the date in April for the green scene?
Green Scene is April 23rd.
Sunday.
Yes.
It's the day after.
Yeah, and Allison, this is Erica. You probably already know this, but the recycling committee has tons of pickers, so you don't. have
Yes,
to spend
and I know
money.
that. I guess just chatted with Rosemary before, because I came in here a little early and I was able to catch her, and she's just like, anything you need, she will be able to push it through, so we can utilize those funds. One thing I would like to get is more Blaze, the jackets, the safety jackets to wear, because one thing I remember is at the last Amwell Lake cleanup, there were kids walking up and down the park or the driveway there, and the driveway's kind of, you're off-roading. So I would prefer that people wear their Blaze, they wear their jackets so they're safe. So my goal is to have 2 cleanups at Amwell Lake a year, as well as 2 cleanups to be scheduled at the Clausen Park. And this is usually involves the school. And we did 2 of them last year, and they were pretty successful. I mean, the kids have been really responsive through Sharon Ernst and the environmental club. So those are down the radar. They have not been planned yet, but it would be really nice to tie in a maintenance schedule for our rain garden that is at the park. So I'm working behind the scenes, speaking with Sharon and kind of thinking up in my mind how we can tie cleanup in that's still litter abatement, but also maintenance of the rain gardens and a lesson in sorts for the kids at Clausen Park. So that is something that'll be happening down the line.
So can I just pause there? Ask some questions?
Yep.
You
So,
guys here?
Yeah, everybody here all right?
I'll speak up. So for example, in the Clausen Park,
Yeah.
would involve a cleanup. Would that potentially involve a planting as well, or is that not? Could that not be
Plant like tree planting?
trees or native plants that we just heard about? Or,
We wouldn't be able to do that under the umbrella of Clean Communities, but we could do that as long as we do a cleanup. Like for instance, last spring, or end of the summer actually, we did a cleanup. We probably got about 4 or 5 bags of trash, and then full bags of trash throughout Clausen Park. And then at the very end, we provided a whole lesson on how a rain garden should look. And there was a lot of back and forth about the state of the rain garden, whether we tear it down and start over, or is it structurally, is it functioning appropriately and serving its purpose? So what we're going to do before we move forward with any of that is we have the Clean Communities part scheduled. That's very easy. That's in the bucket, so to speak. But for rain garden maintenance, we're going to have Randy from Tochi. She's going to come out as the 17th, hopefully, and just give us a lowdown as to what needs to be done. And then we're going to take that and apply it to our curriculum with the kids at the school.
I wonder, like, I think your question might be, I think if we go to new business, then, because I have a way that I want to try and think about allotting the work this year. And I think it might go,
Yeah.
like what you're proposing, I think is an excellent idea. It just doesn't fit under clean communities.
Yeah.
So, but let me just do this. Let me see what you guys think about this idea, and then it'll open it
Right.
up for that
That's-
discussion.
My other question was, these are all really great events. How have you been able to promote them in the community? Like, we use the Facebook page, we do emails. I mean, what's the kind of the
Well, we
method?
have our Facebook page now, which is fantastic. And also I like to cross post things to our East Elmo bulletin board as well. Oh, ew,
Oops,
nobody's computer's cooperating. Don't you?
that's me putting my elbow. in
No cursing. You're
iPad.
covered. I'm still recovering. What I do is I promote it on the Facebook page. I cross post it to our East Elmo bulletin board. I also have an emails that I'm collecting. You may have noticed also through our individual township website, which I've been able to build up a bit more. So people have access to our events and so on and so forth on that website. So they have website access, Facebook. They have mass emails that I send out to people who are registered or who sign up to get our updates. I also do try to cross post with this Conservancy, with Phobos, Friends of Hopewell Valley. And I am able to do with some schools, I'm able to do something called backpack mails, like virtual backpack. I've done it for East Elmo Township School, as well as the Hopewell bulletin board. So that's an electronic bulletin board that they have. So we're able to get people that are within the Hopewell Valley and East
Yeah.
Elmo. And I can reach out. I can go on beyond that. So that we did have, I don't know if there was like any issues with logging on, but we did have 27 people sign up for the Monarch joint venture, which is great. We got about half of that. So it's a good response, and hopefully we can grow on it. So if anybody has any contacts or like-minded people that I could contact that they could cross promote our events so we can get a little more volunteerism, that would be fantastic. I can say with clean communities related cleanups, the biggest volunteers are National Honor Society and Scouts. They are very responsive. Those are their volunteer hours. I usually write up a form and sign off on it so that they can give that to their scout leader. And for the National Honor Society, it's a grade, it's points for them. So the kids really come through for them. So a lot of stuff down the pipeline. And also, I think that was it. Those are the main things right now, is the Green Seed and Sustainability Series. So.
And for those of us who are not on Facebook, could we have an Instagram account, or is that's maybe a question for Jenna? Because I'm not a lawyer. But I'm not on Facebook, but I am on Instagram and Twitter.
I mean, I don't see a problem with Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean, at somebody's comfort level on it.
Usually it's with the Facebook, that Meta suite that it's called, I can have also an Instagram account page. So I
Yeah.
figured I'll start with one and then I'll go from there. Because I'm sharing memes, and all of a sudden it's just like, okay, it's like important environmental stuff, Todd. But we can have an Instagram, and I think that
Or
is-
a TikTok, even
Oh,
better.
no, I'm drawing the line at TikTok and Twitter. I'm not doing that. Can't do it. But Instagram is a lot more user friendly. I know that I always had an Instagram. I only just recently in the last couple of years got Facebook. So it's a lot more user friendly. You see the image and you see the information, whereas with Facebook.
Yeah, which is why I'm on Instagram and not Facebook, because I never figured out Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook is really going into the woods, and it's interesting. So I will explore looking into an Instagram, and if I can share it on my platform, I could post from both of them at the same time, which will be very easy. So I will look into that. It's okay, and it's not upsetting. So I'll definitely look into that. So now we can move on to new business.
So one thing that I was thinking about over December when we didn't meet was, we operate under the umbrella of the Sunshine Law, and so we can't gather together in groups of more than 3 without potentially,
Running afoul.
triggering that, which with respect to this committee seems kind of silly because we're not really making decisions. We're just trying to get stuff done. But my one way that I thought maybe we could make a little progress in between meetings and not just, have Allison do everything and then we come and she tells us what she did, was if we had some subcommittees of 3 people, so that those 3 people could get to work and get stuff done, and then they could come back at the monthly meeting and say, this is what we're working on, this is what we're thinking, and then we could all say, great job, keep going. So Greg is saying thumbs up. I'm curious what other people.
I think that's an awesome idea.
Do you have any concerns about that, Jenna, at all?
No, I think it's okay. I mean, I agree with
I mean,
what
it
you're
should
saying,
be
yeah,
three.
at 3, right? Yeah, the form's 4. Yeah, 'cause,
I don't
yeah,
think any of the other committees do that too, but I think it's a great idea. Love to work in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating otherwise. It's really,
It's
you
definitely
feel
gonna
like you're
be a
beating your head against the wall.
Big help.
So I'm just gonna tell you the ones that I thought of, but these are just not, I'm open to ideas. I thought of like green scene and, cleanup kind of
So
those
like
kinds of
events,
activities. I sort of had the rain garden and native plantings as a separate one. Allison has been really involved in an equity advisory committee, which I think would be important. I was also thinking of a climate energy, a few people working on climate energy, and Bob has already had some ideas about getting some conversations going in the community about climate change. And then another one was, and this is something we've been trying to do since I've been on here and we haven't succeeded yet, which is sort of formalizing the environmental committee's review of planning board applications. And there's a lot of information about what best practices are for doing that through Sustainable Jersey. And it's just, we haven't gotten there yet. So I would love to see a group of people work on that. And I'm thinking you, Jamal, since you're now on the planning board. And then the last one, which I would definitely keep working on, is sort of a Sustainable Jersey certification. And chugging along towards our bronze certification. And that's very nitty gritty and kind of a steep learning curve, but once you figure out the website, it's not that.
It's a lot of admin work. It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of documentation and everything. But in the end, it's a really good framework for everything that we want to do. So it's just a matter of diving into the weeds and reading it.
So anybody have thoughts about that?
I think it's awesome. This is Erica.
Erica, you want to be on that rain garden native planting one?
Sure. Would sign me up for whichever ones you think I could contribute to the best, and I'm on it.
I want to put you in charge of that.
You've been a wealth of information on that. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I would need instruction on how to run a committee, but I've been a manager at work, so I can maybe figure it out.
Great at it. Basically, Erica, all it means, in my mind, although you do whatever you want, in my mind, it would mean you would think about what should East Amwell be doing about our rain garden and about promoting native plantings.
Okay, I definitely have ideas about that.
Great, and we'll get you a couple people to help out, and
Yeah, I don't see the problem of living in the mountain when you don't have kids. I said I don't know anybody, so you might need to send some folks my way.
Well,
But
I want to find some people on this committee, and the reason, so then the 3 of you could email without being in danger of violating any
Sunshine law.
open meeting.
okay, whoever on the committee wants to be with me, we can do this. I have a rain garden and I have a native plant garden, so I can show you what I've done.
All right, you've already got Bob.
I'm interested in that as well. I moved from DC, they had a River Smart Homes project where you could get a rebate on your stormwater utility fee if you did a rain garden, rain barrel, other best management practices. So that.
Great. All right, you've got your committee,
Cool, we
Erica.
got it.
You, Bob, and Jamal. All right,
Okay,
I'm gonna
send me your email addresses and we can all, let's get started.
that is very cool.
Great, and on the green scene, I mean, what kind of help are you?
The help
thinking
that I
we
would need is that I wanted to establish a subcommittee for green scene or events in general, because particularly I'll use the green scene as a framework. with regards to outreach to the vendors, confirmation of what vendors are going to definitely be partaking, and then set up. I have a lot of ideas about setups and logistics for using the park and where vendors are going to go and everything. I want to do a meeting prior to with everybody so they understand what's going on, and I know what type of materials they're going to need, if they're going to need electricity, so on and so forth. So a lot of it is logistical setup. And also if you have maybe better communication with certain people that you're able to reach out to that might fit in perfectly with the green scene, I would definitely appreciate help with that. For events, under events umbrella, just if I come up with any sort of idea about an event, just logistical guidance is the best way that I can put it, is just the planning and being present at the event and helping me run it. So if I noticed that like with one time Sharon is doing a cleanup, and then I brought a small group of kids over to start working on the rain garden, and then it was kind of me and like 7 kids. So it involves a lot of on-site work with events. And also the administrative side would just be like pushing out cross-posting things as well. So it would be a Facebook thing, which I know it sounds so silly, but that's how we get people. So I'll definitely work on the Facebook, Instagram part, but just like sharing and then being present the day of any event that we have. So I think the green scene is going to be the big one. And then the cleanups are very small. They're only a couple hours, but if you have any ideas about any community education or outreach programs that we could offer to our residents, like another speaker for the sustainability series, communicate that with me, and then I can get the ball rolling on it. It'd be fantastic. So will you be events subcommittee?
Well, I don't want to monopolize the committee, but I
Well,
volunteered for one.
You're already in for one.
And I'm gonna do the climate energy.
So who wants to help with the events subcommittee? Oh my gosh,
I can help.
you can help out, Erica?
Yeah, I mean, I can show up, which we know I can do. I also can maybe think of ideas of events.
Yeah, I know. A lot of the ideas that you have, like I've been able to take and run with. So you've been a big wealth of information for that. So absolutely love your guidance on that. So I've got Erica.
I'm willing to help out with
Okay.
some schools.
Well, and you have kids in school, right?
Yeah, so,
Okay.
I mean, you have to guide me obviously, but I'm willing to help out.
Yeah, that would be good.
tremendously.
I mean,
think
if you
that would
could
be-
help with even, I could provide you something and you have a contact about pushing out a backpack mail or anything.
That's right.
It's administrative, but it's just the more people that we have, hopefully it grows.
Sounds good.
And so that would be cool. So it's going to be me, Erica, and Leo.
And
Thank you.
so the other 3 that I was thinking about, but again, doesn't have to be these, was the site commission, environmental commission site review for planning board, the climate energy working group, and sustainable Jersey. Oh, and equity advisory, right, sorry.
That's okay.
And
Did you want
I
me-
think Usker would want to work on
Yeah.
that with you, so
Okay.
she told me to just assign or whatever.
Okay.
That's what happens if you don't show up. That's a lesson
Yeah.
for all of you. JD, what are you thinking? Oh, Greg, sorry, Greg, what do
No.
you,
Either the climate energy or the planning board.
okay, I would,
Whichever.
I mean, you're welcome to do both, but I would love it if you would if you would help out with the climate energy one.
Okay.
Great.
And Marty, this is JD. Like digging into sustainable Jersey.
Oh, great,
Yes, even
excellent, that's right, you did a lot of that.
Yeah.
Good. And-
Marty, this is Erica again. I would be okay unless somebody else wants it. I'd be happy to help with site review, because I mean, I don't know that I would be a good import, but I could maybe help come up with ideas for mitigating things like planting native plants or stuff like that.
And Jamal, are you okay heading up?
Sure.
And I will get you, so this sustainable Jersey thing that we keep talking about, I don't know, did I even explain what it is? Do you know what it is?
No.
Okay, so, sorry. Sustainable Jersey is a program in New Jersey where towns get certified. And through the certification, you sort of adopt best practices for these different like action items. One of the action items is having an environmental permission review of your planning board applications. And on the website, it tells you, like, basically, here are the best practices for having environmental. So it's like a blueprint of, and I can just send you that link.
Okay.
And in the past, we've been working on it for what, 2 years now?
2 years.
To reach, and that's also where we got the funding, the $2,000 grant for the tree planting. So they provide grants, they provide incentives for you to get certified. It's also sort of stamps you as a town that intends to be sustainable. We have completed about 50 points of about, the first certification is bronze, and it's 150. But we've done lots and lots of parts of the rest of it. So
It's kind of like lead, it sounds like.
exactly, it's a lot, yeah. So, and equally paperwork oriented.
I worked on that at EPA. We worked on trying to get more points for stormwater because so many of the points were things where you have a utility bill that you save on. And they're things with great environmental impacts and externalities where you don't save any money on a bill for doing it.
Right.
And so people were not going for those. They were going for getting silver or gold, whatever their goal was, with things that paid them a dividend back. Right. So we wanted more points for things that were harder.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. So just so I know, because I'm keeping note, I know you're taking notes as well, Marnie, but for the native subcommittee, the native plantings and rain garden subcommittee, we have Erica Johansson, Bob Laurie, and Jamal Cardry. For events, it's Erica, me, and Leo, or
Yep.
okay, so it's Leo, okay. Okay, so we have those three, and then for the Equity Advisory Committee, it is also a Sustainable Jersey action item as well to establish this and establish equitable practices within the township, and I just think it's very important to have. So it would be, I'll score myself, and you want to be on that? Yeah. Okay. Marnie, and then the climate is going to be Greg and Bob. I just have down.
So maybe I should also give 30 seconds on.
Oh, yes,
just
yes,
the first-
absolutely.
One of the initiatives.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I've done work in my career on climate and energy, particularly in a nonpartisan kind of way. And one of the organizations that I've come in contact with through that work is a local organization called Sea Change Conversations. They are a nonprofit that goes around the country talking to kind of, I would say, questioners about climate change, questioners to skeptics, and in various groups up to 30 to 50 people at most. Sometimes it could be 10. And they give a presentation that's very fact-based about climate change. What the issues are, and what the science is, really focusing on the science, and also what's being done about it, what kind of why it's not hopeless, why there are things that we can all do, why there's progress being made. So talking about everything from clean energy to biodiversity and so forth, but doing it in a way that's very factual. And they're very good at answering questions that are both, very challenging questions, to hostile questions, to just your average factual questions, and doing it in among a wide variety of kind of political stripes. They're based in Princeton. They started with Princeton Garden Club and are now expanded to, 30 kind of core members and volunteers. And the woman who runs it is named Kathleen Big, and she lives in Princeton. I've talked to her about, would she be interested, or somebody in her organization who does these presentations, be interested in talking with us. And I think we would need to decide what the us means, who we would want to have at a presentation like this. Would we have it as part of our sustainability series or some other event, or not do it at all? But I'm offering that as it's a network contact that I know would be interested in
Have you spoken
talking
with
to
her?
anybody.
It's Kathleen
Biggins,
Big.
the CGI,
Yes.
C change conversations,
Yes.
capital C, that's change.
You've been signed out because you're signed in on another device. Oh my God. That's a little weird. Does everybody still hear me?
Yeah,
I hear you.
Oh, okay. Zoom just told me that we were signed out. Hold on.
We're having a witchy Zoom
Oh.
day.
Don't do that to me.
but I think that's very interesting. I'd be interested in hearing.
Do you think that we could do that as a standalone, as a part of the sustainability series, and I could push that out as an event and try to have as many people join as possible?
Well, I think
and
you
we
want to
could
have a conversation with her
You
first,
want- yeah,
right? Like
obviously,
you and Greg.
logistically.
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate, and if there's a third member of the committee that wants to join in for that, it would be, that would be great. We could do a phone call with Kathleen, and we could talk about the possibilities of how to organize it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
be the
and
joint.
who the right audience would be. And one of the things that we want to avoid is having an audience full of true believers. So that we don't want everybody who's just gonna say rah rah.
Right.
We want, to make it meaningful
Meaningful,
for.
right.
We want to have a discussion. We want to have questions, or it would be really good. So I'd be very excited.
So do we feel comfortable starting out with those committees and seeing how this model works?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I put on here 2023 goals, and I wrote up some goals, and then I left them at home. So what are your guys' goals? I mean, I think maybe these committees are sort of the
I
frame.
think the committees are definitely a goal because that's taking various aspects of environmental things and breaking them up and helping to get things done.
So maybe thinking about the goals in terms of what the committees are working on.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I think. Cause I mean, we will get, I think your idea was brilliant, actually. Cause there's a lot of stuff that needs to get done and we can't get it done in 12 meetings.
But what's good about having the subcommittee is that it's focused now. We have a focus and we have a goal oriented as to what we want to accomplish. So these are things that we've actively worked on. So we're not just all over the place. We have specific items that we're working to try to achieve. I think last year is like we kind of did as much as we could to see and saw what would stick basically. And these are things that I know are very important that will provide information for our township and also information for us as we grow our Sustainable Jersey accreditation. So that would be, these are goals in my opinion. That'd be great.
So
Totally.
great.
Go for it, Erica. Are you saying something?
I said totally, I was agreeing. I'm.
I was just wondering a lot of the initiatives really involve a community outreach or community engagement
Yes.
aspect. And I wonder whether there's any way to kind of measure whether we're getting traction in community engagement.
I wish that there was a way. I mean, what I did on the website is I give people an opportunity, and I also did this through the 3 newsletters that I did, is that people to sign up for our updates. And I started after pushing out the butterfly webinar, I started getting people signing up for the newsletters. I created a job form basically. And so I'm able to kind of track who signs up for things. And then that's the only way that I could have an analytic as to who's responding and who's coming to it. So
But in
there's
answer
really-
in answer to your question, I would say we have not found the thing that would really I mean, I'm glad that 27 people signed up for tonight, but it would have been great if we had more than 10 people hear that presentation. And cleanups, we usually have between 10 and 20 maybe.
Yeah.
Have we ever had 20?
I think we just barely, for the first one we did.
So, I mean,
Well, these are
Boston Park, the kids,
Oh,
yeah.
With the students.
Yeah.
Yeah, the students and kids are, I mean, they're great.
so the numbers you're talking about now, these are actual participants or attendees.
Yeah.
at meetings or events that we're holding.
Right.
And, that seems to indicate to me deeper engagement than somebody who's, receiving a newsletter or something. So I wonder whether we can measure the degree to which we're getting people to participate, to show up at meetings, to
Yeah.
participate in whatever that.
You mean in addition to knowing how many people show up? I mean, we know how many people show up.
But it could be a goal.
To
have
oh,
more.
absolutely.
That's
Totally, yes. And in fact, I did find the goals. So the, on the drive is sort of the summary of what we did last year, 2022, a sort of short version, and it
Condensed.
just went up recently, so you might not have seen it. It went up on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
It's in the drive for today's meeting. And the priorities that I had sort of articulated, which we can change, but were increased public involvement through sustainable living series, and also the public plantings and presentations to share important sustainability information at the green scene, and to continue to make progress on sustainable Jersey initiatives. So in response to you, Bob, I think mostly our goals are, or I think should be around increasing engagement with the community. I mean, the talk that we had at Erica's may have been the biggest turnout, but many, not that this is necessarily a problem, but many of those people were from Hopewell.
Yeah.
There were like 2 from Easttown.
Yeah.
That actually event had a big turnout.
Yeah, it did. It was really, I would love to do that again.
Well, I'll volunteer. We can do it again next year.
Sniff all the mountain men. Like,
But then I guess the question is, are there ways we can think to boost Eastham?
there will definitely be a lot of commingling of work between committees. So it's just like if the Climate Action Committee has an event, then you'll contact me and I'll help you with rolling out that event and a site review. A site review is pretty standalone. I mean,
Well, and also I assume we'll all be working on all these, but this
Oh,
was
yeah.
just a way to get something done
yeah,
in between.
and have
mostly.
help, so it's not just one person. Yeah. So and the green scene is going to be a lot of work, especially as we get closer to and we start mapping out whatnot. So
Was there something about?
yes, actually, I don't have enough information. We do have the Sustainable Jersey PSE&G grant that is rolled out. It's due towards the end of February, and if we want, we could move. This is the same grant that we got $2,000 last year, so it would be great to start brainstorming ideas if we want to apply for a Sustainable Jersey PSE&G grant for this year. Maybe trying the $10,000 grant to fulfill the equity advisory action item. So that is an option, and it's something that I think is worthwhile. So it's something that we can speak in our subcommittee about and utilize that $10,000 grant possibly on that, which would really help us get our footing on it and have a little direction as to how we want to, what our goal is for that and what our outcome we want to see from it. And Sustainable Jersey have a ton of information on it, so we can talk about that.
Well, we better talk about it soon because it's due in February.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I have the framework, I have it written out. I have the idea of it, especially after we
If we
spoke.
did it for the equity.
If we did it for equity advisory, I think I have it pretty much
Yeah,
in my
no,
head. It's just
that
matter
one
of
we
is
could do.
that what we want to do. Yeah,
that
okay.
one.
Okay, cool. So we'll speak about that.
I mean,
Yeah.
does anyone have any, this is the time probably to, so as Allison said, there'd be $2,000 grants, there are $10,000 grants, and we applied earlier this year for some assistance for an equity advisory and we didn't get it. But the woman said, oh, you could also apply, for this February one. So we do have that one, a lot of the information. So if someone thinks, oh no, I really think we should put the $10,000, we should apply
Something else, yeah.
$10,000 for something else, this would be the time to mention.
Do you know Renata Barnes?
Yes.
I met her at Sauer.
Yeah.
Yeah, she,
She actually has provided a lot of information to me for, there's a equity committee up in Hunterdon County at the county level. She's put me in contact with them as well as some literature and some information about the framework of our committee, and she's great. So I've been in contact with her. as well as Lisa Wolf, because she's at the Outdoor Equity Alliance as well. And I think that is really important because it ties in just getting people of all backgrounds together in the natural setting. So I look to her a lot for a lot of information, and Renata has been very responsive. So she's somebody that I'll be leaning on. Oh, she's very nice. Do you know anybody else from there? The Outdoor Equity Alliance, or
No,
just Renata? Okay.
Before we move on to oral reports, does anyone want to add anything to that discussion?
Which was the composting initiative? Where does that fall into the agenda?
Oh, the composting initiative?
Well, maybe that's part of.
In the greens, you mean
In
the
the green
scene?
scene, however, I would like to find a professional or somebody. I tried to reach out to compost.
No response.
But I would like to provide a sustainability series, a talk similar to what we had on composting, because this is something that a resident can do in their yard. They could either build out the 3-tier system, or they can just have their 10 by 10. And it's something that they can do, that small bit that's sustainable and good for the soil and good for any runoff and whatnot in their yards. So if you know of anybody, I know you tried to.
Soon they can come to my static aerated pile, so.
Nice.
It would be like kind of cool. Like
Yeah.
even we can like live stream and just be like, all right, this is how we do it. I know it's like it would be like kind of cool. Like I don't know.
Composting with our little flock of chickens, our family flock,
Yeah.
but Lincoln Farms building a USDA approved abattoir. So we're going to be composting on a commercial
Oh wow.
scale coming here.
Great,
And
you're gonna have
I
a
am-
huge demand for that.
I am personally interested in composting toilets, because we could build on our little parcel like farm housing if we didn't have to dig the kind of septic system that you're required to dig according to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane.
I've done it on my property.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Know
Ours is
exactly
40
what-
years old. I'm like,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
be nice.
Mother Earth News has composting toilet information all the time.
There's what?
Mother Earth News, it's a very hippie type magazine that of course
Yeah,
I
I'm
read.
familiar, but I mean, could we be able to get a permit for that in East Amwell?
No, it's a magazine, but it has information on composting toilets.
My guess would be no.
Yeah. 100%. That's
The
a Board of Health question.
the state is encouraging it, like as a policy.
Isn't PFAS an issue?
No,
No.
I mean, you wouldn't be putting down any kind of forever chemicals in a composting toilet.
Well, except that you eat them. I mean, that's like the issue with the biosludge, right?
If you're eating PFAS,
But-
then the last thing you have to worry about
But
is
isn't
the
that-
residue
wasn't-
after it breaks down.
Wasn't that
to
the issue in
compost.
Maine, that it was from the application of
Oh,
biosludge?
no, that's municipal sewage sludge.
Oh,
So there
so
you've got
much
all
impacts.
kinds of stuff
Okay.
going into a public treatment work. And then they're pulling that out of sludge that isn't composting, it's just like
Yes,
probably their primary treatment
Yeah.
train and land applying it. So there was probably somebody like a fire station that was practicing in this, I don't know what the sources were. That was a nightmare. We're gonna have the best database in the country on PFAS in New Jersey, because they're requiring every new homeowner, new well, to do an $1,100 test that tests for that. So instead of the state having to pay for that, yours truly is paying for it, like in a place where there's never going to be found, right? Because there's no airports nearby our little preserved farm, or you know what I mean? But we'll have a lot of data in New Jersey on PFAS.
So are you wanting a compost committee? Because you're gonna be a one-man committee.
No, I mean, I'll continue to plug
Okay.
away at it.
Will you keep telling
Yeah.
us? Yeah. That would be great. That would be great. Okay, so I'll do the oral report for planning board this time, but then next time you can take over that. So planning board, we are a week from tomorrow. We are hopefully having our final hearing on Region 9 housing. And then we will hopefully then be back to work on the master plan.
And then for Parks and Recreation, we had a reorganization meeting, and right now we're just planning for the Easter egg hunt as well as other events, budgeting and whatnot, and other events for at the Clausen Park for the summer and so on. So we're just in planning mode at the moment, but we had our reorg meeting last week.
Maybe as your equity advisory hat, you can come up with a new name for the Easter egg.
It's crossed my mind. One thing I am really happy about that we are going to have, one of our members is looking into, is there's going to be a gal there who's going to provide a spot for kids to partake. That's because, I mean, if anybody's been to the Easter egg hunt, you kind of just throw like 55,000 eggs out there, and pardon my language, but it's kind of a shit show. And they run out and it's great, but there's eggs, there's chocolate, candy, glitter, all sorts of stuff. But it's really fun for like little kids, but I would imagine if there is a child on the spectrum or their parents that just breaks me out a little bit. There is a gal who's going to be on hand. We're getting pricing for it right now. We're utilizing our Rediscover Hunting grant that we won through Parks and Rec to be able to do that, because that grant is going to be able to be used against current events that we have to be able to build them up even more so that we can draw more community members in. And one of those ways that I'd like to utilize that grant is to offer other initiatives within our current events that are inclusive to all of our community members. So we might have community members who are elderly, who want to partake and
Or don't celebrate these.
or don't celebrate these. Very true. We also have residents who have children who are on the spectrum who might be incredibly stressed out by this event. So we want to try to find ways to incorporate that as well. So we're slowly chipping away at that. That was $5,000 grant. It's really good.
And friends, are you friends with?
I have not been to a meeting yet, so I cannot
So I can do a quick update. They are, unless anybody else. They're working to update the town has to have a plan for farmland preservation, and until we have the plan, we can't apply for new funds. So they're working on the plan.
Does it-
Yes, Friends of Open Space is different than Friends of Hopewell Valley.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Which organization is this?
So this is a township committee. It's the Friends of Open Space Committee,
Of the-
right? So
of
that's
the
yeah.
similar-
right. And it's-
Farmland and open space.
Farmland, like farmland.
That's
open
a
space.
Right. It's right. It's not Friends. Thank you, Erica. It's not Friends. It's farmland. And it's required by statute.
It is, correct.
It's the state requires us to have it, and that it plans. It has a plan, a very detailed and very expensive plan that says how we're using our.
Are there
open
any
space.
initiatives that we could, or grants that?
Well, I'm not on that committee.
Yeah, that's
That's for you to
That's
figure
what
out.
I wonder about. It's good that, because I remember asking Erica about.
And I'm on that committee actually, and what we could use are people who know farmers who might be interested in preservation. And living up on the mountain, I know no one. I don't even know the people. I know the person across the street, Sorok, because her dog's
Erica, I think
dog
the problem-
antagonizes my dog, but that's about it. So
The problem right now is not finding the farmers. The problem is getting the plan
Yeah,
in
getting the
place so
plan.
that when the farmers apply, there's some money to give them.
oh yeah, no, we're working on that too. We've been trying to get, I guess we're waiting for money. That's the thing. It's very expensive. Like, as you said, it's very expensive to update.
There's tons of.
And actually, I think what we decided is we're gonna try to parcel it out to like, so we're hopefully going to get assigned to little sections that are in our purview, that we can get this updated as best we can, so we don't need so much money.
So I bought a preserved farm, a farm that was already preserved. And in preserving a farm, and the farm that we're preserving was actually in Hillsborough, 849 Amwell Road, 25 acres. Like the state, well, you can make a deal directly with the state. You don't have to go through the municipality. And they're looking at smaller parcels now because all the bigger ones are already taken. But it's an interesting process, and being like on the receiving end of the restrictions where they said, this is your exception area in the middle of prime farmland. instead of where the house used to be in the woods, how you can't change that once you buy it preserved is interesting to me. It makes me think that there should be more input in the process while those parcels are getting designed and configured. It also,
Sure.
I have an NPDS stormwater permit for a massive basin that had to go in here because we're disturbing more than an acre to have the driveway and the house that was prescribed for us with the purchase of that property. SEDC is not very flexible.
No.
Once you own it, it's like, oh, well, we could, instead of a basin, we could do like a street edge alternative and bioretention along the driveway. Just give us 5 more feet of driveway. No.
She doesn't. Gosh, makes everything else.
You're up next, Jim.
Yeah.
Township,
Oh,
what do you think?
So I have, so the, well, you probably know, this, the color run, this is not township committee, but this, well, the color run's May 5th, so if you guys wanna do the booth there, you've done that before, right?
Yeah.
The color run. And then I know with the sustainability series you're doing and stuff, I know Mike's been looking into using the big room again for to do presentations and stuff. He's been talking to the insurance people, so
Okay.
I want to keep that in mind.
Will we be able, so on Zoom, we don't have webinar function. So I think we have to add on to that.
Oh, gotcha.
So that, I don't know how much extra that is, because I think the
Oh,
owner,
got
but,
it, yeah.
but that is an additional function on there. And then I could just like hook up the laptop and pull down the projector screen, or we could totally logistically do that. But I think it's an add-on to Zoom.
Gotcha,
Would
yeah.
would there be just an opportunity in the budget to up our Zoom account and be able to do that, or is that something that we should bring up for?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you get a price quote,
Yeah,
that would
okay.
be good for we should be having some open to the public budget meetings very shortly.
Oh,
So,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
so.
Because there was a couple things, yeah, especially
Yeah,
even
shoot
with
that
our,
over.
yeah,
So
and
we'll
and even
where
in
we're
this, and even with for the commission in general, I have newsletters that I push out, and I save them in PDF. I create them, I save them in PDF. They're very informative, and my goal with them is that teachers would use them and that they would bring them to their classroom, and they would provide a lot of tips and did you know or did you not know about this, like educational initiatives in them as well. But I think that a lot of people now, just when they get a newsletter, they just want to see it. They don't want to have to go through and open up a PDF and read it. So I was debating on getting pricing from Constant Contact, and what was the one that you used for your website?
For my
Squarespace?
I use Squarespace.
Right, so Constant Contact or Squarespace, and then we can utilize this as a township initiative where we could have a township newsletter. I know that we have the VIP, so there that I don't want to step on any toes with that. However, with township related events, I think that it would make sense for us to have a township-wide newsletter, and once a month, Rosemary from recycling can get me information. I can compile it all and we can push it out to our members.
He's not on anymore, but you should talk to Mike Dennis about that.
Okay.
That's the big,
Yeah.
he's had similar ideas.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
So I will
that'd
talk
be
to
some-
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can talk about pricing and whatnot, bring that up. That'd be cool. Then it'll be seen as opposed to just our little cubby of environmental protection folk. So
And you know, Dante has off the grid house. Yeah, if you ever want to hit him up with stuff,
Oh,
he's got the
that's good.
solar and thermal and everything else.
Right,
Stuff that's going on, yeah.
it's fun.
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I think it's like he built it like completely off, right? Yeah, yeah. It's completely off. Yeah.
we're on to open to the public. again.
For items that are on the agenda, did you have
But
any?
you can talk about something else.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
You have anything that you would like to add?
Emily, I think you're
Emily?
just following along.
I'm here. That all sounded good. I'd be interested in probably helping with maybe the rain garden at the park. Allison, whenever you guys are doing that, I could.
Absolutely. And
Other
then
than,
we got our green scenes, so that'll be great.
yeah, everything sounds good.
Emily, are you gonna have seedlings by April 23rd?
That's the goal. That's a good time for it because
That's my goal too, but you're,
Sewing that.
I wouldn't really have anything else, so
Yeah.
I'll definitely be there with or without seedlings.
and then the presentation of the voucher, we can't actually do that because we don't have our budget.
Yeah,
yet.
we don't have our budget yet, so we'll
So
bring
we
that.
can skip that. We'll just- correspondence are in the drive. We don't have any though, right?
Yeah, just the correspondence was just a agenda and whatnot.
Um,
And the
and
goals.
can I have a motion to adjourn?
We'll move to adjourn.
And someone second?
Second.
All in favor?
Hi,
Thank you,
Stay tuned,
guys.
everybody.
hi.
Bye.
Bye.
You will start.
Oh, yes, Leo, I need you to sign something.
Okay.
What's
I
that?
would have failed to face the incredible. I'm rich.
Will you read it?